Hey, family, welcome to another episode of the Black Man's Roundtable.
This is Kevin Evans, co-moderator.
This is Shedarren, County Sheriff.
And I am your co host, Rodney Butler. Today, we're going to be interviewing and talking with Shedarren Fanning. He is a candidate for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. But before we do, I just want to make sure that we acknowledge that I think last week we did candidate Cyrus Colley. And I just want for the county and everybody to know that we did, because we did have some inquiries, people asking questions about whether the incumbent sheriff, Tim Pounds, was going to show up on the Black Man's Roundtable. Sheriff Pounds was sent an invitation. We have not heard anything back from him, and today we are scheduled to do our last sheriff interview or sheriff candidate interview. And so that being said, like I said, today we have candidate Shedarren Fanning on. And before we get started, Shedarren, tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we get started with our questioning.
Thank you, Rodney Butler. Y'all for having me on here. 15-year all vet. Currently a police commissioner for the 11th. Little history about bachelor degree, criminal justice. I actually have executive leadership tier 4. Highest is 5 at 4. I've been of operations, enforcement section, special operations section. I've been with the community police section, school detective section, and also I've done FO operations. Currently, commander for Zone 6 operations for Morning Watch, and also the extra commander for the cops protesting that are going for the strapping themselves to the equipment and burning up Molotovs and all other elements.
Okay, before we get started with the first question, I apologize. We came on a little late because we were having some issues with candidate Fanning's audio connection, and Shedarren, I'm still hearing a little background, not background, a little echo, but I'm also hearing a little skipping. But hopefully, I'm not sure if we got it fixed yet. I know you moved around a little bit, but that being said, we're going to have to keep rolling on. We've done just about everything we can to try to get rid of that echo. All right, so that being said, look, I have the first topic, and it is going to be under background and experience. And the first part of that topic area, Shedarren, is, can you please provide an overview of your law enforcement career? You did it a little bit, highlighting key positions and responsibilities. You know what, because you pretty much covered that in your introduction. So what we'll do is I'll ask part 2 of that, which is, what motivated you to pursue a career in law enforcement, and what experiences have shaped your approach to the role of sheriff?
Yes. Appreciate you for asking. What got me into law that I come from a law background where military and I found my dad worked office in Montgomery. My uncle retired from Tuscaloosa, and I had uncles. Also was an MP. Brother was an MP in the Marine. So the exposure to law enforcement as a kid. Also, my mom in Montgomery, Alabama, and different counties within the Montgomery corridor in Alabama, and that developed need want to have public. And actually down here to Atlanta through our opportunity, Sergeant Hutchins, he's no longer, but he was the one that recruited all the good things about police department, and that was my deciding fact. Right before that, I was a medic. So I was pretty much 35 going on. Spent the last plus years. I'm sorry, years dedicated my life to.
Okay, great. Kevin, you have the next set of questions.
Okay. Welcome, Sheriff Fanning. I got a lot of friends in the camp.
Yes, sir. Yes. No.
See, I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Can you share a specific example from your past experiences where you successfully had to lead a team through challenging situations?
Just one of mine. This career, we see a lot of things and incidents kind of bombard our heart to that end. But I'll use the most one. I was a Zone 5 commander on March Watch. People don't know what Zone 5 is. It's the heart of the city. And we came in one shift and we had a call that one of our that zone had passed away from and that within that zone either um with that being said, I had to put my feelings to the side as a leader and my heartbreak to the side. I had just talked with him about real and stuff while we were working at the job together, and to make sure my troops, my sergeants, my officers, any civilian staff, or anybody that was in relation to the family and friends had the support versus the support that I needed at that. And to have chucked that much of heartbreak to make sure tucked it in to make sure that everybody else had the resources that they needed to deal with a grief while still answering 911 calls, and the pin is high because you're in high volume call area, which is Zone 5. A lot of people had to go home, and some people toughed it out, but that probably had to that probably had to be my towards my most recent time in leadership, where I had to put my foot to the side and make sure that my troops and supervisors were good.
Good answer. Second part of the question. How do you plan to foster a positive and cohesive work environment within the sheriff's office?
Oh, that's a great question. That's actually a chapter for leadership that talks about that. Um, you will want to identify your focal organizations, such as the sheriff's office. Once you identify those focal leaders are people that know how to may not be ranked, but they may be a brand new deputy, but people may cling to their leadership, and you use those particular people to help boost the morale, and also have little center programs. One of the ones I want to do in my 100-day program is open the treasure box of extra jobs for our sheriff's office to be able to work a wider range of extra jobs. That's going to not only build morale, but it's also going to put a little bit more money in their pockets for their family. Also, too, training. The number one answer is always training. And one thing I do know is that we have audit our level and best practice. We need to go to other organizations outside the Tri-City areas of the county and see what everybody else is doing. Conduct our national studies of how to see what our toolbox is. We need to broaden our toolboxes of resources that will hold retention, that will keep morale going, and also a mental health programs within the department. We need a peer support program, within the chair's office. Uh, you may just got in an argument with your significant other. You may need to talk to somebody right there before you go in, or before you walk into that jail and some cooperative. So mental health program, more, and I'll say more, 'cause I know they have things in place, but more updated best practice programs, then more incentive for our deputies to want, and also stay in while they're making more revenue.
Yeah, I like that part about the checking on your officers Because one of the things I've always done is I check everybody at the door.
Hmm.
Because you come in with an attitude, it's going to be a problem for everybody.
Yeah,
So I want to fix that right away.
sir.
Okay. Let's see. Next, we have community engagement. You touched on both of these a little bit in your leadership and management, with Kevin, just the categories that Kevin just asked you. But how would you ensure that your office reflects and serves the diverse needs of the community?
That's a great question because I come from a nonprofit organization that I am the founder of that outreach. So I do understand that the community diversity within the department uh, is imperative because you to take what within um, the organization put out within the community because we're public service. So my answer to that goes back to best practice. We need to have our officers engage to more. We need to have more programs and more events that is geared to the public, the churches, the community leaders, and also local leaders within the community. And we need to come up with a coalition of programs that coincide with all county. Once we all know each other and we all work together versus my friends group or my friends nonprofit, everybody's nonprofit, all hands on deck, it builds a cohesive relationship within the community and not just the organization, not just the particular nonprofit that utilizing with the organization, sheriff's office. And it goes back to best practice. What are other departments? Chief Sparks is doing a very good job and Douglas County could mirror some of those, sheriff's office could mirror some of those ideas, just right within their own home. But also too, what are other departments now? Because we always want to be known nationally for our good attaboys and good work for community engagement.
Okay, part two of community engagement is, can you provide examples of community outreach initiatives you've implemented in the past, and how effective were they?
Yes, sir. One, when I was a rookie officer, well, I've been doing community outreach since I was a kid. My mom ran a nonprofit called FACES, Family Advocate Community and Educational Services. So since I was so I've been indulged into the church and the community engagement side, but more so my nonprofit, Pastor Family Outreach. We do annual turkey drives and Christmas giveaways. Also partner with Newport Bar and Lounge. If you there. The food is impeccable. My friend Ebony Austin owns it. It's Jonesboro and College Park. Every year we give over 100,000 toys to the kids on the west side of Atlanta. And you don't necessarily have to live there. You can come to Cascade Skate in December when we host it. Child a brand new toy you would want them to have: Xboxes, TVs, cell phones, things like that. Also, the Explore program. I was one of the first advisors for the Explore program. I think Collie Cyrus touched on that, but all of us created the initiative together when it was going. Also, Douglas County Youth Innovation Center. I do a lot of one-on-one police engagement with them, with the youth there. So as they get close to getting their driver license, they know how to react with officers. So we talk about things that I've been through, even with my and I know I'm trying to cut it short, but even with my legal red, I first put my name in for Douglas County. I had to know how to handle that particular situation on scene to escalate it when I felt like something was wrong, and I'm giving that gift that was given to me to the youth. So as they get their driver license and drive without their parents around, they know if they get pulled over, the fight is not at a traffic stop. It is the court system that will hold accountable if we know how to compare it with the OCGA law and the case law, which we're getting ready to start help teaching that with the FBI civil law class that I'm going to attend next week.
All right, Kevin, you got the next set.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of that.
Okay,
I
go
think
ahead.
that's very impeccable that you talk about how to survive a traffic stop. I was just a quick story. I was a victim of racial profiling. I'm driving through Beaufort and Cumming, Georgia, 3 o'clock in the morning. I got pulled over by a white sheriff and a white Cumming police officer over a bridge, over water, 3 o'clock at night. Two young white boys. Wasn't no fight for me. I waited it out. Cause there was no need in arguing with them. Cause I saw their agenda. You know. So it's right. We gotta teach our kids how to go home. Okay. My next question is law enforcement policy and procedures. What is your approach to maintaining the balance between enforcing the law and protecting individual rights and liberties?
It goes back to best practice. Get rid of that. This is mandated training, which is bare minimum training to educate yourself every year to stay post certified. You need to go through this, not only staying post certified, but understanding what your post certification consists of when it comes to amendment rights, when civil rights, and also I would like to bring that I'm attending next week with the FBI Color of Law, when it talks about case laws and civil litigations that happened during corruption. I want to bring that to Douglas County so we can give our deputies the opportunity to be exposed and to empathy. And in this particular county, it's imperative that find a legal way to add empathy to the deputy, because this particular county comes from so many civil rights diverse incidents where and there's even controversy about why they call it, you know what I'm saying, with the two S's and the S. So this particular county, it is deserving of cultural awareness, and the only way you can implement that is that you have to give empathy. The leader here has to have empathy. You have to go through something. Martin Luther King went through something. Roselle Park went through something. Babs went through something. Everybody that added the trend-setting to change of civil rights had to go through something. I went through something last year when I put my name in the hat for Douglas County Chair. So I have that empathy of why it's important to nail cultural diversity. And when I say cultural diversity, it's just not about being black or white or Hispanic or Asian. It's about understanding the culture that you work in and you serve, and your service needs to be culture.
Okay, good.
Hey, Kevin, before you move on to the second part of that question is, I was just going to let Shedarren know that one of the things that I used to, when I was in the military, is I used to specifically look for leaders, not so much based on their IQ, but on their EQ, right? On their emotional quality. When we talk about empathy, we're talking about the same thing, as emotion, right? And I felt that, look, I'm smart enough to run this division or to run this, whatever size or whatever, the unit it was. But I think that if we look for, especially when we're talking about working with the public, a public service officer, as in a sheriff deputy, looking for those young men and women, or just men and women, don't have to necessarily be young, with a high EQ versus a high IQ, I think will serve Douglas County and other in the surrounding area a whole lot better sometimes than looking for people that got all the book smarts. All right, Kevin, thanks, man.
No, I agree with that, Rodney, because people can take a test and pass it, but be terrible at practicum.
Kevin, your camera came down a little bit. Okay, there you go.
And be terrible at practicum. And they quickly want to go for the gun, stick, whatever. But you got to be mostly connected in order to fulfill an obligation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is my thought. Okay, my second part of that. Um, in cases of political misconduct within the office, how would you address and investigate such allegations and maintain accountability and transparency?
Great question. That happens a lot. When you're in this type of work, not everybody is happy about being arrested, so they're going to complain. Not every officer does the right thing. So guess what they're going to do again? They're going to complain. So you're going to get a cluster of complaints, and you got to decipher in between those scenarios. Just upset because I got arrested, or it was the officer did something that was unethical. With Douglas County, I would say, we need to revisit the internal affairs investigation process, how it's done. Also, too, sometimes you have to lean to your outside and your federal partners to investigate things. Also, to provide that transparency, the transparency of ethics. With that being said, I'll give an example with our department. When we get into an officer involved shooting, our homicide unit comes out to ensure that nothing criminal will happen amongst the actual suspect. But GBI comes out and ensure that the officer did everything that they're supposed to do, and thanks to the OCGA, force, and as well as pop, and they have to align together in order for it to be a ethical. And the DA looks over it after the I investigates it. They'll give the GBI gives their opinion, but the ultimately the prosecutor looks at the totality of all information and come up with the determination that lawful shooting or unlawful shooting. So to answer that question, goes back to best practice. Other departments nationally doing. We always want to be mirrored when y'all come. When our family comes, friends come to Douglas County, they want to say, "Hey, I see y'all got an award for national best practice with the International Chief of Police or something." We want to be mirrored because that's our seal of approval to let the public know, even in tough situations, that we still hold the record for best practice, and we still hold the best record for ethical investigations. And with that being said, I feel like outside agencies helping out with sensitive topics or incidents, and when it comes to not just the mandatory training that they take a year, but extended training that applies case law, per case scenarios, and what is a lawful shooting
You
in
know,
compared to case law.
right. That must be very difficult when you have a split second to decide on what's good and what's bad. So I commend you guys for that. That has to be difficult.
Repetition helps out with that. The more we do something, and people just think it's just shooting, shooting, shooting. No, you need to train, 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 train. When your motor system's in a high intense situation shut down, it goes back to what you're used to. And if you're used to doing the right thing, you will always make even.
Yes, sir. A little muscle memory helps too.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
does. It
Yep.
does.
So, okay, I got the next set under public safety and crime prevention. All right, Shedarren, what strategies would you prioritize to address current crime trends or concerns within Douglas County?
Yes, sir. At our crime prevention tactics, like are we even writing? Are we even doing plan of actions? To like with springtime, we know kids get out of the spring. Then a lot of them have the resources to go to after school programs during the summer. Do we have things in place knowing that spring is coming up and kids will be out of school? Do we have any curriculum that we can offer to the sheriff's office? Summer's coming. Do we have these programs that they can go to for free? Are we providing resources to prevent these kids from having idle time? And I'm so tired. And I'll say this right now. I got a little bit off topic, and Kevin, I'm so tired of hearing these ideas that's my. I'm 35 years old. I'll be 36 in July. I'm tired of hearing these same 35-year-old ideas. I don't want to see another DARE program. I like DARE when it was 30.
Yeah,
when I'm part of it. Innovative leader that's going to lead Douglas County to a more positional leadership is going to have to take a new idea that nobody had thought about, but we do have the education and the experience to help push it through and create it. So we need to create more innovative ideas. We need programs that we already have in place to maximize and install them.
I thought of a crazy idea. Um, when you talk about inclusion of technology, why not develop a program where there's these gaming teams?
Kids love that.
Yeah, yeah, have a competition. Man, that makes me crazy.
They like coding. They like
Yes,
like engineering and music, and they like film production. Why
yes.
we got a brand new studio that's built on what Highway 92, or I mean Interstate 92 is it Highway 92.
Yeah, yeah.
Why don't we develop some community partnerships so we can give them tours and bring them back to our space and offer them these sophisticated programs? Because
Exactly.
at 1 and 2 year old, they already navigate YouTube. Why are we talking about Dare and Explore and Popsicles? But what I know, I'm just a 15-year-old law enforcement. I'm actually the youngest folk man in the city of Atlanta. Youngest black folk.
Well, we do have to bring our strategies up to the as far as you know the current trends. We have to bring our strategies up, not just to the to the 21st century, but in the 2020s.
Yeah.
We really got to do that. So
the audience, which they're our next leader.
and we have to understand. Go ahead, Kev.
Well, there are many universities and colleges here in Georgia that are eliminating the SAT and ACT.
Yes, sir.
So you gotta change.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of the schools that are doing that. We need to be promoting those to our kids because everybody's not historical learners. Some people have to see things in the past. Some people have to hear it in the past. Some people have to feel it in the past. I wasn't the guy that was just book smart brain, but to look at a multiple choice and do the probabilities of it, and know the answer. I may not know how to solve it, how I got the answer, but I knew there wasn't the other two.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at? Because I know we started late, just about 7:40. Okay. The second part of that question is, how do you plan to collaborate with other law enforcement agencies and community organizations to enhance public safety?
I'm already working on a campaign. I'm already rounding up all leaders in Douglas County, outside agencies. For we got a public safety training center that's been controversy in Atlanta. That's going to be offered to every Tri-City law enforcement agency and first responder, including fire and E911. Not take advantage of that training facility that's 20 miles away from them when we don't have a training facility that's offered for ourselves. And we had to drive all the way to Fort Fighting Gypsy to get any type of other training other than the small training that's around through other agencies. That's what's a neighbor across from Paulding County. So I believe my resources that I have for my own self as a public official and law enforcement commander will be crucial coming to the sheriff's office because we have those foundations of community partnerships.
Okay, when you talk about community partnerships,
Kevin, let me hit those one real quick before we move on to Kevin. Well, Kevin also going to have a part of this before you move on to his next set of questions. Part of that question, Shedarren, was community organizations. I want you to talk a little bit more about not so much just police agencies, but community agencies can be so very important to curbing crime and sometimes alleviating certain aspects of crime, in the community. So I want to hear, before we move on, I want to hear a little bit more about community organizations and how you plan on incorporating and working with them.
Yeah, that's back to the last question where we're talking about community partnerships. Our churches, our focal leaders in Douglas County. I mean, we're currently working with One God's Girls, we need more women mentoring these females. But all the stuff that's on social media, these young girls are more attracted to the content that shows on social media, and we need more active females that are out in the community that's just as attractive, but and positive way. And same with men. You got organizations like Black Men's Roundtable. I've attended a few of the Black Men's Roundtable, and it shows the cohesiveness to say it gets amped up to say we need to do something. So then this one, these innovative ideas like Kevin are implemented, and we can go to the youth and our young men or our young women and men and implement these programs that have never been done before in Douglas County. That's what's called traditional leadership. We all are great men. Y'all guys been in the military. You know how to go and manage your MOS that you did because that was your forte. But to be transitional leadership is a vision. We have to have a vision for community lead with these pastors, with these mental health and wellness organizations or physicians or clinics team up and make sure that our mentor for is good. Our mentor for ourselves are good. It's nothing embarrassing about going to talk to a counselor. So why not implement that as a norm within our organization?
Okay.
All right, Kevin.
No, we talk about community leadership. Douglas County is packed with influential people. We got the biggest movie vogel living here in Douglas County. How can we get some? How can we get some of them people down?
We we already working on it.
I mean, it's kind of embarrassing that you even gotta ask them.
Yeah, and to share a secret with you, I'm not supposed to share it, but we've already sat down, and my team, my manager, to be exact, has already sat down, made some few whispers for things that we're working on, and that was with the big man with the airport trip in his yard.
I mean, we live here in Mirror Lake. I see Miss Juicy all the time. The little short midget lady.
Yeah,
I see her all the time.
he goes to the BP gas station all the
Yeah,
time. Yeah, yeah,
Marco's Pizza.
yeah. Marcos,
You know.
they fitness chapel with us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So okay. Get my high horse.
sir.
Okay. Technology and intervention. How are you? Hold on, some more question. How are you? How do you see technology impacting law enforcement in the coming years? And how you integrate that technology into your office?
That is actually one of the 100-day initiatives that I have because it's priority. Without best technology, you slow down the progress of your criminal investigation. Without best practice, you slow down your payroll. So guess what? That breaks morale too. When your payroll is messed up because you're still doing it by an Excel sheet. Hint, Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Um, not to throw shade that way. It's just we need to add more things that will be geared to the deputies that come into the organization that looking for a clock out machine. You know, this is a new group of deputies. These not the same ones that started, when it was still, a call nickname dirt road deputies. You know what I'm saying? These guys are looking at technology. Some already have IT degrees. So they're really looking for the investment when they come in. But I plan on bringing a lot of different programs. I want to steal one from my organization called Peregrine, and it connects all crime chains that are happening not just in Douglas County but in other states, other cities, and it actually helps you identify because sometimes when people commit crimes, they may wasn't committed in Douglas County, they may were in Georgia, or they may were in New York committed, and it connects those spiral web of crime trends to that particular person. And then
Okay.
mhm.
Agreed.
And it tells us where to focus at. It tells us where we need to spend more time and not just black community. We may need to be on Highway 5 a little bit when we actually get the crime the accurate crime analysis.
Okay. I guess one of the things I like is I don't see a lot of gas station shootings in Douglas County. So whatever y'all doing, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And we're going to see that foolishness. Okay.
And let me ask this real quick, Kevin, before you
Yes,
move
sir.
on to
Yes,
part
sir.
two of that is, so Shedarren, listening to a couple of programs and the ones you're talking about bringing in, that should also help with over policing certain communities, shouldn't it?
Yes. Yep. Because you'll be able to use technology. Times when things went bad, it may not be bad anymore. We may drive by a place that never been bad. It may just need to be monitored at this point. It may not even need to be heavily enforced. So sometimes things can look aggressive when heavily enforced, and it doesn't. You have to assess things. You have to go back. Where are we at now? Is crime down in this area? So let's focus on where crime is high now. Do the thing because obviously it worked. Let's not keep being obsessive to this area that's now increased in crime. That's a plot. That's something we need to go to the community leaders and have another meeting over some nice chicken wings and some food. Say, I want to announce that crime has been low. I want y'all to see this. These are arrests that's been made. Here's the date of this year. This is where we at, and we're low. We're going to be coming out in this area. I will still see us, but we're coming out here to shake your hand and throw some football, and maybe knock on your door with some holiday cheer during the holiday time. But it's not here to sit behind a corner. Over. We got the bad guys out. So we know y'all guys are safe, and we're going to keep monitoring.
Yeah, and I
Thank you,
like
sir.
that too. Yeah, hey, I had a crazy thing today. I was sitting over at the Food Depot parking lot, waiting on my brother-in-law. Two young black boys was walking through the parking lot, pulling car handles.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yo, what y'all doing?" Then they gave me the, black niggas and all this. Mind your business. It was just crazy. It was just crazy.
We're going to be tough on crime. Just leniency and we got to be sensitive. Like, we're going to be tough on crime because guess what? You deserve to be able to walk outside and check your mail without being hit inside the head. You deserve to be able to walk to the store and leave an item being busted. So, trust and believe. I've been a special operator pretty much my whole career. We enforce crime, but you got to when to enforce and police. And that's the point.
Right. And we gotta make that known to the community. Cause people get sensitive when, like around here in Mirror Lake, we got the doorbell ringers. I'm suffering from PTSD. You can't ring my doorbell at 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. That scares me. There's gonna be trouble for you.
Yes. I'm also in the Mirror Lake area too, so we're neighbors.
Yeah, we neighbors. Well, they run around ringing doorbells at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and they do that.
That ain't funny.
There's little kids that think it's funny. They push the doorbells and take off.
Yeah, that ain't funny.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just add before we move on, Kevin, if you got, I don't think with children ringing doorbells at 3 o'clock in the morning, just think about it, we were all children, okay? And I think each one of us is probably on the cusp of one of the three generations, that the last generations or whatever, okay? And just think about it. We never thought about, never even had any kind of time or ambition or anything to go and ring doorbells at 3 o'clock in the morning or knock on doors, right? So I think that as we look at things we need to do as far as policing, I say all the time, I think there's over 19,000, almost 20,000 individual police departments or policing agencies, departments like, sheriffs and police and all that stuff in the United States, almost 20,000. And I think for each and every one of them, I've said this before on the Black Man's Roundtable, is that on their cars, I've never seen it, and I've been in a lot of places, I've never seen it where it says protect and serve. I always see where it says serve and protect. So serve come first, right? And I say that because if a kid is ringing a doorbell at 3 o'clock in the morning, that is a community problem, that is a parental problem, that is a neighbor problem. That is more than a policing issue. And so that's why I appreciate what you're talking about when you said that bringing, some of the training and that's why I wanted to harp on mentorship, not mentorship, but community engagement and that kind of thing when we were talking about that. And I wanted to engage in that because I think the answer is not just putting more police, because what you're going to end up doing, you're going to end up reacting to crimes instead of and we know a lot of police agencies in America, they react to crime. You get that after it happened. We need to find strategies to prevent crimes in the first place.
And that just really community policing. That's the neighbor knowing who works that area. Vendors. That's the next able to call the lieutenant and say, "Hey, ALT, sorry to bother these kids keep ringing my doorbell." And guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go out to get the door cam, a video of it. I'm gonna go find mom and daddy, and we're gonna have a conversation. And if they start to say, "Well, my child was in the house," man, whose child is this? So all we asking is, we're not saying he's not perfect. We're just saying that's dangerous. And we want to ensure quality of life for you as well, the person that is annoyed by the doorbells or alarmed or triggered PTSD symptoms, to not maybe do that. That's probably not the best way to play. And address it right then, because when mom knows the police has been in the house about a son and they got video, they attend to say, but
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah, and
funny.
me and Kevin been talking about it, man, since we've been interviewing you guys, and we both believe in this heavily. Boots on the ground. Got to get the boots on the ground, man. Stop cruising around in cars, looking at people like they're crazy. Get some boots on the ground. So
Yeah.
appreciate
I like that. Okay, second part of that question real quick. Can you provide examples of innovative approaches to law enforcement that you either implemented or would like to implement? You've kind of answered that a little bit.
Yeah, the more youth programs that we're going to have with Bashing Family Outreach, the sophisticated training that we're trying to offer coding and such. Also, too, just programs that I've helped revamp or create. The revamp was the core program, but also too the more common one is that we're probably going to end up approaching in the next 2 to 4 years is dealing with Cop City. We're 20 miles away from where they are. They're going to migrate over this way, and we need to be prepared. And we need to be updated on M Street. And I say updated. They're no longer using them as the first priority of incident management. They're using the incident command as that message. Our command needs to go back through the new version of NIM, which is no longer called NIM. Because when we did our first protest, we didn't know how to handle it. And those guys, but they're going to be agitators to get you to violate their civil. And if we're not trained to deal with agitators, not people that are obstructing, they know what limits it's put. And I'm sitting down with the law department and attorney, making sure, along with other commanders, making sure that we're implementing the best cut team. We did with these protesters, implementing the best extrication team to get these guys out safe, make the proper arrest, and then monitor what we need to do to reassess this to avoid the opportunity of them doing it again. And also, when it comes to suppression, I've created numerous plan of actions. My favorite one was drug no bueno, or parson no bueno, meaning no good is not tolerated in the community. This is a family-oriented community, and we would not set up trap house, put fear into our residents. Talk. So that was one of my favorite ones, because you actually see the black, the white community, the Hispanic community, all like, yeah, no bueno, no good, we're safe, and we appreciate my kid walking down the street without having to be recruited by the gangs in that area.
One quick thing, Rodney. In terms of technology, I know the Airbnbs have banned private parties, but it would make sense to me, as a preventive measure, is to make sure every Airbnb has a camera in there that's visible to the sheriff, police, and county officers. Surveillance all around. Because too many problems happen.
I agree, and that's one of the things I plan on stealing from my apartment currently. Once I'm elected as the sheriff, is that we have a universal system that we offer to store owners, business owners, and as well as homeowners, which are the Airbnb people, where we're able to tap into the camera to help with our solid goal. We're not waiting on them to turn the cameras on to give us permission to utilize them for investigative purposes. And it goes back to also the community. It should be, we had an incident where some kids that we knew were killed, and the kids
Yeah.
that we knew got up a house party, a Sweet 16 graduation party, and should have been no reason that proactive measures was not pre-planned, knowing that if we had the best technology, we could have monitored that a party was about to happen. We could have sent some undercovers to sit on the house to make sure that it was an innocent party and it was not something that would deem a quality of life issue or unsafe, you know, unsafe, dangerous issue. And we should have been on that. We should not known that it wasn't a party happening in that area.
Yeah, my niece was at that party,
Yep.
so I was really pissed.
Yeah. It
And
was
I
too.
think, Shedarren, here's where the sheriff office can work with local legislators, right? When we talk about that partnership, and the extent of and the reach of the sheriff department, right? And so, for instance, if you are once you give your property, once your property becomes, an Airbnb and those kinds of properties, I don't think many citizens would be opposed, especially if you got the data and especially if you coming at them right. I don't think many citizens would be opposed to mandating that these properties have to have a feed to police agencies, like the sheriff's office. But here is where a sheriff who is really engaged with the community, who understands how to work with local agencies, how to understand to work with organizations, can easily get something like that, passed. And guess what? The onus won't be on the sheriff department to install and and pay for these additional cameras or some feed or whatever to go to the. It'll be on that. It'll be on that property owner.
You got to use your partners. That's the only way. Public service is just not the organization. It's just not the sheriff's office. Everybody, you're maintaining you're maintaining the community. Everybody needs to be on deck, and everybody has a superpower to their own community. And the empathy there, because only way empathy will not be in there. Only way the desire to want to. If you genuinely don't live there, you might hang out there. You live in there.
Exactly. It takes the entire community. You guys get post certified, right? And that PO stand for peace officer, right? So it's about keeping the peace. And you guys in having, there's no other agency, I believe, in America where you need the entire community on board in order to get some of the things we're talking about done. But you do need legislation sometimes. So you got to work with them as well. So
as well, that's already day and issue. When I hit office, already is ready to figure out what is an issue.
All right. Well, like I said, man, me and Kevin, we're looking forward to hopefully having a sheriff who is not ignoring, who doesn't ignore the board of commissioners, who doesn't ignore some of the other boards that fall under the board of commissioners. So we're looking forward to having that be a part of it. The next one we have, we had 8:00, but all right. So Kevin, while I'm at it, for you got the last part with long-term vision. you don't worry about part two of it,
Okay.
Kevin. Just part one should, yeah, part one should work. Okay. And in fact, I'm only going to do one of my last ones. Let me see which one I want to do. I think I want to get a little personable, so I would share. I mean, I will talk about the second part, which is, can you share a time when you faced an ethical dilemma in your law enforcement career, and how did you handle it?
January 7th, 3 of last year, legally arrested after announcing my candidacy for sheriff, placed in the Douglas County Jail just to be exonerated. The report came back. I had 0 levels of alcohol in the system. But it was more of the scenario that was the dilemma. And I'll paint the picture to you. For somebody to tell you put your hands behind your back when you know you didn't do something, it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing. Anytime I hear an officer dealing with somebody and they say, "Sir, I did do something. Sir, I did do something." Okay, well, this is not where we fight at. I try to find that. If you didn't do it, let's just make sure we go through A, B, and C with each other. And I'll revisit. I'm wrong. We'll revisit the cameras. I can do this right here. But the most humiliating thing and the thing that actually builds humility was me having to go through that process, talk to very nasty, and to be treated like a nobody as a police commander, and knowing that I didn't do something had to be probably the hardest lesson. I thank God for it now because it led me to here, but um, that had to be my answer to that because it took every. I can see why people pull away. They feel like they haven't done something, and now it's obstruction. But I knew with my experience, 15 years, I knew that that wasn't the smartest way to go. And I'm a pretty big dude, so I'm gonna call a lottery. It's not gonna be a good turnout for anybody. So I'm thankful for my knowledge, but I also want to share that knowledge amongst the community. Even though you feel in your heart that you did not run that stuff, even though you feel in your heart that you did not commit that crime, figure out the things that you can do to start gathering evidence right then to exonerate yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Success is the best revenge.
It is.
That's all I'll
Touche.
say.
Touche.
Okay. Last question. In what ways do you intend to leave a lasting and positive impact on the county through your roles as sheriff?
Well, I plan on being here for a while, but my goal is to make Douglas office a organization, a public safety facility, a team, a family, a sheriff office to be mirrored from national. I want people to, at least for one or two things, they don't have to do for everything because we're not perfect. But I want people from police departments from Dubai, I want police from Israel, from New York to come down and say, "What are y'all doing? It's amazing. We're hearing this all the way down in California. How are y'all doing this? Can we review your policy? Can we look at your policy and mirror? Is that possible?" So before my print that I want to leave is that Fanning not only was he the second black sheriff of Douglas County in history, but he also was one of the few sheriffs that did have innovative leadership, which was transitional leadership. But he left a print national for them working in a capacity where people want to mirror us. People want to be like the sheriffs because of the results that's.
Very good.
All right. Okay. All right. The last part, Shedarren, is let the people know how they can support you, how they can reach you, and all that good stuff.
You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Darian Fanning. My name SHEDARRE Fanning, FANNING. My website is fanningforsheriff.com. It's the number four, not the FR, the FOR. And also you can reach me at 407-717-1915, or my email is fanforshares@gmail.com.
All right. Well, since he's going to be a little humble today, we're going to ask you to. He's going to ask you for your vote and going to ask you to donate. Take this opportunity.
Yeah. Y'all make the right decision and elect me on. I want y'all to. My primary is April 29th. I don't want y'all waiting May 21st. Go down there April 29th through May 7th. Cast your vote. That name says Fannin. It's very easy. It's gonna be probably right in the middle on the alphabet. So look for Fannin, circle it. Please donate. If not, go vote.
Great. Look, we appreciate you, candidate Shedarren Fanning. Despite having a few audio issues, I hope everything sounded good on the other end. We're not quite sure. We'll see with post-production stuff, but hopefully the Facebook Live and the YouTube Live people understood, what we were saying. But again, I apologize for starting about 10 minutes late, but it looked like we got everything up and going. So look, on behalf of my co-host, Kevin Evans, appreciate you, brother. Until next time, we will see you out on those streets and those suites. Peace.
Thank you.
Don't forget to check us out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Do you have show ideas or want to be on the show? Shoot us an email at blackmansroundtable@gmail.com. And please follow us on Facebook.